A new product is revolutionizing the speed and ease of ultrasound breast biopsy, Mammotome EX. Based on extensive user research, Mammotome EX's innovative design enables quick and simple product setup, rapid procedure speed, and improved ergonomics, resulting in significant benefits to physicians and patients. A cable-free handpiece provides improved control and stability. The contour design of the EX handle accommodates many different comfortable hand positions. Mammotome EX has open access for easy tissue collection. Introduction of the Mammo Mark tissue marker is simplified through the use of specially designed ports. Tissue specimens are acquired in less than 5 seconds due to a rotating high-speed cutter. Expedite your biopsy procedure. Experience the design. Mammotome EX.
Holding both the Mammotome device and the transducer is essential to the procedure. Your hands are made to work in mirror image of each other. This is how you should think of holding the probe and the transducer. There are 3 techniques that you can use during the insertion and biopsy procedure that will enable you to manipulate the probe and transducer effectively. You will use tip up, toe in during insertion. Rotate translate can be used to bring the needle and lesion into the same plane. Tilt and turn can also be used to adjust your view of the lesion. This gripping style also frees up all but your thumb and forefinger, which becomes important for maintaining a steady hand and fine motor skills. Once you have found your lesion and have centered it in the screen, change hand positions so that your entire non-dominant hand is resting on the patient's breast. You do not want to have your elbow up or your hands unsupported. That will cause fatigue. Rest your arms down and place your hands on the patient. Change to this hold when you are ready to begin the biopsy. Having your hands solidly on the patient stabilizes the transducer. The real-time ultrasound should look like a freeze frame. Local anesthesia is administered within a centimeter of the edge of where you'll be biopsying, between your thumb and forefinger. Wiggling the needle tip while creating the skin wheel will create a sensory disruption that will diminish the sharp pain the patient may feel. Administer anesthetic around the lesion. Anesthetic can be infiltrated below to help lift the lesion from the chest wall or above to move it away from the skin. Create a skin nick aligned with Langer's lines. It should be more narrow than the needle you intend to use for the biopsy. This results in the needle fitting snugly in the incision, helping to eliminate any bleeding at the skin. Bleeding below the skin can be evacuated through the application of the probe vacuum. Think of the transducer as a flashlight. You always want to keep the light shining into the notch of the probe. When inserting, turn the probe 90 to 180 degrees, the 3, 6, or 9 o'clock position, so that the flat side is towards the transducer. The flat side is easiest to see on ultrasound, which will help while positioning. Insert the needle at a vertical angle, 1 centimeter from the transducer. Use the tip-up, toe-in maneuver to enter the skin. Looking at the image, you can see the flat of the needle approaching the lesion. With the needle tip under the lesion, lower your elbow to bring the lesion up and to bring the probe in alignment with the transducer. Rotate the probe back to bring the aperture directly underneath the lesion. Rotate translate if necessary to get the needle and the lesion in the same focal plane. When making these adjustments, concentrate on moving the back end of the transducer instead of moving the needle tip around. If on insertion you find that your needle and lesion are not in alignment, you do not have to pull out and start over. Use the tilt and turn technique to bring them both into the same plane. If you are next to the lesion, you only need to roll to get into a position where they are both in the same focal plane. Although being vertically positioned is optimal, being angled slightly to one side or the other will not prohibit you from being able to rotate for the biopsy. Accessing deep lesions has traditionally been done by moving your needle further away from the biopsy site and entering at a more shallow angle. Using that technique, you will reach the lesion at the expense of using the full length of the needle. You have also been forced to traverse a great deal of dense tissue and Cooper's ligaments. A vertical approach goes through the minimum distance of dense fibrous tissue. Most of the needle is still outside the breast, and you have reached the same depth. Flatten out the needle, lifting the lesion, and you are ready to biopsy. Another way to avoid traveling through dense fibrous tissue is to rotate into another plane, finding the optimum path to the lesion through subcutaneous fat. Visualize your needle tip. Line up in the right image plane. Even at steep angles, you can toe in the transducer to get a horizontal image. Be aware of your needle location in relationship to the pectoralis muscle. Let's look at the process again. Tip up, toe in. Find the lesion. Get under the lesion. Rotate back 90 degrees, and you're ready to biopsy. Consider having your assistant work the probe controls so you can concentrate completely on the position of the needle. Take samples. If at this point you choose to send a specimen for X-ray, Holding the transducer and probe will not be a problem in this position. The probe is balanced in your hand with the weight on your wrist. You can set the transducer down to place the marker. When you are ready to place the marker, rotate the aperture to where the greatest volume of tissue was removed. The marker should be placed within the biopsy cavity. Insert the marker introducer with the notches aligned and deploy. Shown here, the clip has been placed in the center of the biopsy site. Rotate the probe to bring the smooth, flat side of the needle adjacent to the clip to avoid snagging or moving it. Remove the marker. In position mode, close halfway so that the aperture is still open. With a closed aperture and system, open the stopcock to administer bupivacaine through the port, using a 12 milliliter syringe. Look for the anesthetic to fill up the back line. Once all of the air has been evacuated, crimp the back line and give additional anesthetic to fill the biopsy cavity. Close the system and prepare to remove the mammatome probe. With 4x4s, use a 3-finger or palm technique over the biopsy site. Keep pressure along the path of the biopsy. Your index finger can be used to apply pressure to the incision site. Hold pressure for 5 to 10 minutes. Using this technique will help ensure that blood will not escape through the incision after the procedure.